Hi guys, this is my first run out of a couple in Aranea's Intersecting Wheels Admiration. I decided to upload this run first because this is a full Auto Plus run for the stage, featuring the duo of Cor and Gladio. I won't go so much into detail about the actions that they've taken since it's really an Auto Plus run, but rather what I'll do is cover more about the mechanics of the stage and why this duo works really well, and then I'll cover of course also the setup that I use for both Cor and Gladio. As always, you can also refer to the video description for more details about the party setup. This stage doesn't really have a lot of mechanics. In fact, there's 0 HP triggers at all beyond the usual Shinryu stat boosts. There's really only 3 things that you need to take note of, and ranking from the least important to most important. The first is that the enemy's force attack is just an AoE brave attack, but it will dispel all your buffs if it breaks any party member. That's a non-issue in this party because Cor and the person he's linked to will have break immunity. The second is the snake wound debuff that the bosses can inflict on a single target through their injure attack right here. This debuff is a 3-turn frame debuff that gives you an HP poison effect anytime you receive any brave damage. That's also a non-issue here because Gladiolus actually has debuff immunity as long as his S2 buff is up, so you'll never see Snake Wound on this fight. The third and final one, which I've actually passed the first threshold, is that at 30% and 60% force gauge, the bosses will get a red aura, and you'll see again when it comes to the 60% threshold here. When the red aura is up, all brave damage that they receive is reduced to 1, and all HP damage they receive is reduced to 0. In addition, if you do not dispel the red aura from 30% until the point where they hit 60% force gauge, so in other words, if they hit 60% force gauge while the red aura is still up, they will heal for 19 million health, which is 20% of their maximum health. To dispel the red aura, all you need to do is do a critical brave hit on the boss. Now I'm coming to the 60% force gauge threshold here, and you can see the Harden's defenses text prompt and the red aura coming up. Now you might be wondering how in the world I dispelled the red aura given that both Cor and Gladiolus doesn't really have guaranteed critical hit. The answer is that it is a little bit RNG reliant, but in actual fact, all characters does have a small chance to do a critical hit when they do brave attacks. The odds are actually in your favor, mainly because that Cor and Gladio does a lot of often brave dumps throughout the fight. Each time the bosses target you, Cor will do his preemptive strike, Gladio will do a counter, and you already only need one of the brave dumps to do a critical hit to dispel the red aura, so it is actually extremely likely that you will very soon dispel the red aura just via the often attacks that this party does. If you are not really a fan of RNG and you really want to make this a certainty, you can just give one of the characters either a SAS call, a Kate Sif call, or a Barret call. Even a SAS base call will work, and this will guarantee that you do a critical hit rate to dispel the red aura. If you do that, of course, the only drawback is that it won't really be a full Auto Plus run anymore, and I didn't do it because I really wanted this run to be a full Auto Plus run. I've just entered Force Time, and the rest of the fight really is history. The often attacks that Cor and Gladio do will really quickly add up as the force bonuses increase, and you're really in no danger of dying because the Snake Wound debuff will never land and the boss will really never do any HP attacks. Even if they do, it's only going to be single target and Gladio will fully mitigate the HP damage. Now coming to the setup, what I have is 5/5 ultimate weapons on both Cor and Gladio. The ultimate weapons isn't mandatory because nothing in this fight really threatens your team, So even if you can't kill them in one force time, you can just let the battle go on a little bit longer, or you can just toggle off the auto plus mode and pop into summon mode at one turn of force time remaining. I leave it up to you. But essentially, the ultimate weapons are more a win faster thing on this stage. In terms of passives, the important thing here is that you want to unequip all speed passives on Cor and Gladio. In case you are wondering which are the speed passives, I won't name all of them, but it is very straightforward. All you do is go to the character passive screen, scroll through the passives and unequip any passive that has the word speed in them, S-P-E-E-D. This serves to make your party as slow as possible, which actually lengthens the amount of time you spend in force time, because the force time turns do not actually go down when the bosses take their turn, and since your speed is greatly reduced, the bosses will take more turns compared to the player turns. Lastly, both Cor and Gladio are at force level 30. The force levels for them is quite important. Beyond the usual boosting damage that they provide, it also ensures that you charge the force gauge faster than the bosses and allow you to hit force time before the bosses do. In this fight, it doesn't really matter too much even if the bosses hit their force first, but it does make things a little bit smoother in the auto plus run. That's pretty much it. I will also upload a couple of other runs on this stage over the next day or so, but overall this fight is pretty easy. If you are still struggling on this stage, couple of other tips beyond the core abilities that I've mentioned, which is Sas, Kitsif and Barret. The other notable mechanic here, like I said, is the Snake Wound mechanic. The Snake Wound mechanic is not guaranteed hit, so even if you don't have Gladio, you can use another debuff immunity character such as Ares, and you will also never see Snake Wound the entire fight. Lastly, because the bosses only has 1 HP attack, and that's their generic HP attack, and of course the HP poison from Snake Wound cannot kill you, this means that if you bring Maria in your party, as long as her LD traps are up, you literally cannot die on this stage, because the traps that she brings will always ensure that the bosses start their turn at 0 brave, and this means that the bosses will never do an HP attack. Now I did manage to win in one force time, but like I said, it doesn't really matter if you can't. At this point, you know, you're at 700% or so force bonus as well, so you can also opt to pop summon at 1 turn remaining. Brother Summon can also deal a ton of damage. At this point it should deal about 10 to 15 million damage, which is about 20% of the boss's HP, and kill them off. Anyway, that's it for this run. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoy the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!